Now I have to pause. Everybody, we haven't done one of these in a couple of weeks. We're about to show you a clip from The View. Everybody, make sure you're in your chair. If you need the booze, grab it real quick. Here is Whoopi, it's her body. Don't touch her body.
But I will tell you, this is my body. And nobody, you got people telling me I got to wear a mask or don't wear a mask or do this. Everybody wants to tell me what to do. But you won't let me make my decision about my body. You are not the person to make that decision. My doctor and myself and my child, that's who makes the decision. And one of the things I really want to point out before we go is the reason abortion came about. Women in this country lived forever with it being illegal, okay? Women, when they decide something is not right for them, they're going to take it into their own hands. Well, we got tired of tripping over women in bathrooms, public bathrooms, who were giving themselves abortions because there was nowhere safe, nowhere clean, nowhere to go. This law came about because people wanted people to have somewhere safe and somewhere clean. It has nothing to do with your religion. This is not a religious issue. This is a human issue. If you care about me as a human being, you should know three things. Getting an abortion is not easy. Making that decision is not easy. It's not something people do lightly. It's not something that you can just do. It is a hard, awful decision that people make. And if you don't have the wherewithal to understand that, to start this conversation with, I know how hard this must be for you. If you're starting it by telling me I'm going to burn in hell, then you're not looking out for me as a human being, whether I subscribe to your religion or not. And that is not okay. We will be right back.
Well, you can already see where I'm going with this one, right? I mean, are we laying it on a little thick? Because this is not what Whoopi and the other nutbag harpies were saying a couple weeks ago when it came to other people's bodies and other people's doctors and other people's medical decisions. Here is Whoopi.
Yeah. So we had to make a law to make you understand this is how we do it. And I just feel like, look, I understand you don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to wear a mask either. But I also don't want to be concerned when I'm outside that you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Yeah. And when I look, 12 and under, those 12 and unders, they don't get a choice. Yeah. No, they don't. For that reason alone, this should be mandated because the little ones, they're hoping somebody will say, mommy or daddy will say, yeah, come on, we're going to go get this. Because I got to tell you, the 7-year-old that I live with, it's like, am I going to be okay at school? Yeah. Yeah. And I have to lie. Yeah.
When I think
and
the
say,
choice
I
is
hope
to
so.
keep your child.
They really make this shit too easy. These people are just so ridiculous. So she wanted other people to be injected. She wanted other people to be masked. She was seemingly very concerned about 7-year-olds. She's not very concerned about 7-month births, pregnancies, let's say. But okay, fine. We could have done a gajillion clips of that or of every one of those women saying the exact same thing, obviously. Here was some audio about how the Biden administration really is in some ways even more radical than what the senators from the Democrat states want when it comes to abortion.
First, let me say the president's position is that we need to codify Roe, and that is what he has long called on Congress to act on. What is also true is that there has been a vote on the Women's Health Protection Act, which would do exactly that, and there were not even enough votes, even if there was no filibuster, to get that.
Did you get what she just said right there? They want to push this thing through to codify Roe, but even with the filibuster, if they blow up the filibuster, right, and they only need 50 votes, that they still don't have enough. That means there aren't even enough Democrats to do the radical thing that the Biden administration wants to do. So what do we have to do, people, in summation? We got to keep exposing these people. We got to not forget what the real issues are. We have to mock them when it's appropriate. And we have to just build a better society. And if this is just the continued sort of devolution of where America is at, that we will just live in sort of very different countries, even if geographically we'll still be one country, I think that's kind of okay. And maybe that's what this really is all about, because this thing in essence is about states' rights. And it's just going to be super different California is just going to be a giant cesspool of high tax, high regulation, an abortion fest and a crime fest and a drug fest and a homeless fest. And then there'll be other places where there'll be some room for disagreement. And there'll be pro-life people and pro-choice people that live there. And we'll have the moderate positions of 15 weeks. And we'll have common sense from our leaders and things like that. That's it. But I'm going to continue covering all the nonsense from the administration. I'm not going to only focus on this issue. Obviously, we'll hit it when we have to, and I'll have to, when they start burning cities and everything else, we'll have to cover some of that stuff. But we're not going to let them get away with it. And mostly I'm going to try to focus on the better things that we can build.